The first light of dawn broke over the Masai Mara National Reserve when the call came that would change Dr. James Conroy's life. At 45, the American veterinarian had dedicated the last decade to working with the Kenya Wildlife Service. Yet even after years spent treating everything from elephant foot infections to rhino gunshot wounds, he was not prepared for what awaited him that morning. "We've tracked Simba for 3 days," explained the head ranger, Mutwanzamo, his voice crackling through the satellite phone. "The growth has worsened. He's separated from his pride and isn't eating. If we don't intervene now, we'll lose him." James knew Simba well, a magnificent 12-year-old male with a distinctive dark mane, who had ruled the reserve's northern territory for 5 years. 6 months prior, rangers had first noticed a small growth near his right eye. Initially deemed harmless, recent photographs revealed the tumor had grown at an alarming rate, now nearly the size of a grapefruit and clearly impairing the lion's vision and behavior. "Do you have a visual?" James asked, already packing his medical kit as he cradled the phone. "Yes. He's resting under an acacia about 5 kilometers east of observation point 3. He looks weak, doctor, and he's alone." That last detail was especially troubling. Lions are social animals. For a male to isolate himself usually meant one thing: he was preparing to die. "I'm on my way. Maintain visual contact but keep your distance. And Mutua, ensure the dart gun is prepped with the dosage we discussed. We'll only get one shot." Within 30 minutes, James was airborne in the reserve's helicopter, accompanied by his assistant, Sarah Chen, a brilliant wildlife veterinarian in her own right who had joined from the San Diego Zoo 2 years earlier. Below them, the vast savanna stretched in endless golden waves, broken only by the occasional acacia tree casting long morning shadows. "The tumor looks vascular in these latest photos," Sarah noted, reviewing images on her tablet. "High risk of hemorrhage if we attempt field removal." James nodded grimly. "We may not have a choice. His condition is deteriorating too fast to risk transporting him. We'll decide once we see him directly." The helicopter touched down a safe distance from Simba's location, and the team transferred to 2 land cruisers for the final approach. Alongside James and Sarah were Mutua, 2 experienced rangers, and Dr. Keone Weraru, the reserve's senior wildlife biologist, who had documented Simba's lineage for years. As they neared the coordinates, James felt the familiar tightness in his chest that came before every dangerous procedure. Wild animals were unpredictable at the best of times. A sick, cornered predator was exponentially more dangerous. "There," Mutua whispered, pointing. Beneath the spreading branches of an ancient acacia, the massive form of Simba was visible even from a distance. The change in the once mighty lion was heartbreaking. His ribs pressed against his tawny coat, and his normally majestic mane looked dull and matted. Most shocking was the angry red mass engulfing the right side of his face, forcing his eyes shut and distorting his features. "My God," Sarah breathed. "It's grown significantly since the photos from 4 days ago." James studied the lion through binoculars, noting the labored breathing and abnormal head tilt, signs the tumor was causing neurological issues as well. "He's suffering," James said quietly. "We need to move now." The team positioned the vehicle strategically, one as a mobile operating theater, the other as a barrier against any predators drawn by the commotion. James prepared the tranquilizer dart with practiced precision, measuring the dosage with extreme care. Too little, and the lion wouldn't be fully sedated, risking the team's safety; too much, and they might lose him on the table. "Wind from the southeast at about 7 knots, Mutua reported, checking a handheld anemometer. "Adjust 2 degrees for drift." James nodded, loading the dart into the specialized rifle. Though he had performed countless dartings, each carried significant risk. Distance, wind speed, and animal weight had to be perfect, especially with a compromised animal like Simba. "Everyone ready?" he asked. Affirmative nods came from the team. "Remember the protocol. If something goes wrong, the vehicles are your only safe zones. No heroics." With that final reminder, James raised the rifle, exhaled slowly, and squeezed the trigger. The dart flew true, striking Simba in the thick muscle of his shoulder. The lion roared in surprise and anger, rising with unexpected strength given his condition. For a heart-stopping moment, he stared directly at their vehicle, his one good eye locking onto them with the focused intensity of an apex predator. "Hold position," James instructed calmly, though his heart raced. "The sedative needs time." For several tense minutes, Simba paced unsteadily, occasionally swatting at the dart in his shoulder. Gradually, his movements grew sluggish, his massive paws seeming to grow heavy. Finally, the great cat sank to his knees, then rolled onto his side beneath the acacia, his breathing deep and regular, the sign of successful sedation. "Start the timer," James told Sarah. "We have approximately 47 minutes of safe sedation." The team moved quickly but methodically, approaching the unconscious lion with caution. Even sedated, a creature of Simba's size commanded respect. James knelt beside the massive head, conducting an initial assessment of the tumor while Sarah monitored vital signs. "Temp is 103.2 Fahrenheit, pulse 62 and strong, respiration 15 and even," she reported. "He's stable but shows signs of dehydration and malnutrition." James carefully examined the growth, his experienced fingers gently probing its boundaries. "It's more extensive than the photos showed. It's infiltrated the orbital cavity and is likely pressing on the brain. That would explain the neurological symptoms." Dr. Ware rejoined him, her expression grave as she observed the tumor. "Can it be removed?" "Not completely." "Not here," James admitted. "But we might debulk it enough to relieve pressure and buy him time." He looked at his colleagues. "I need to decide how aggressive to be. Once I start, there's no turning back." The unspoken question hung in the air: was it more humane to attempt this risky procedure or to euthanize the suffering animal? As lead veterinarian, the final call rested with James. After a moment's contemplation, he made his decision. "Let's give him a fighting chance. Sarah, prepare for field surgery. Muchua, I need more light here. Keone, stand by with backup sedative in case he stirs." As the team snapped into action, setting up portable surgical equipment, James sterilized the area around the tumor. This would be unlike any operation he had performed before, a delicate procedure on a dangerous predator in the field, with limited time and resources. The risks were enormous. But as he looked at the magnificent creature before him, James knew he had to try. What he couldn't possibly know was how this lion would repay his efforts, or how the connection forged in the shadow of that acacia tree would ultimately transform both their lives.